recent pack who opts for non-engineering, non-tech jobs. Representing this pack today, we have our two esteemed speakers belonging to the consulting domain. Aryan Jain, the founder and former secretary of the Consulting Club, is our first speaker. Aryan is a 2022 graduate from the Metallurgical and Material Science Engineering Department and has always been one with passion for the consulting world. He currently works as an analyst in SAP Consulting for Deloitte and has a great deal of experience in his bag. Our second speaker for the evening is Sakshi Pawar, a 2022 mechanical engineer graduate who currently works in ZS as a business operations associate. Sakshi has been a part of the TCC family right from the start and has a track record of excelling at the things she does. We will now have Brunmay on stage who will ask Aryan and Sakshi some questions.
Thank you, Juhi, and good evening, everyone. I am Mrinmay. So, my first question to the speakers will be that what was your thought process while choosing to go into consulting? Because both of you are from the M group, and so there are a lot of existing opportunities for those students. So, what made you choose consulting? Aryan, what would you say?
Um, so hi everyone. It's wonderful to see everyone today. Um, so what made me choose consulting? Uh, it's probably to do with the fact that when I sought the opportunity to start this club back in my third year, in the very same college that you guys are right now, it's there's just this spark that ignited that consultants are everywhere, right? And I personally am a and I'm an ambivert, right? And I like to play in the gray area. So a consultant who plays into gray area and always tries to come out with a third solution or a different perspective towards things is something that I always aim to do. And consulting is one of those directions that I have chosen to pursue this. And because IT is the most blooming industry, that's why currently I am working into IT consulting.
Thank you, Arya. So, Sakshi, what would you say? What was your reason to choose consult?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Ranmai, and hello everyone. Very excited to interact with all of you all. So yeah, why consulting for me? It wasn't planned. I just went with the flow. So पहले college में बजाज आ गई, बजाज दे दिया. I was a mechanical engineering student and Bajaj is a dream company. I was very sad जब बजाज नहीं हुआ, but like मतलब every time it always happens for the good. तो बजाज नहीं हुआ बाद में देन आई स्टार्टेड रियलाइजिंग कि ओ जीएस है उगम है डिलॉइट है सो इट्स गुड दैट बजाज डिड नॉट हैपन but like though I did not have it planned but whichever company used to come उसको मुझे बेस्ट देना होता था तो कंसल्टिंग का नॉलेज तो मेरे पास था क्योंकि आई वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ टीसीसी आई न्यू अ फ्यू थिंग्स अराउंड मैनेजमेंट बिकॉज आई वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ रेगाटा देन लॉकडाउन था तो हर किसी ने कोई ना कोई कोर्सेज किए थे सो आई हैड एन आइडिया ऑफ आईटी एज वेल आई डिड अ फ्यू कोर्सेज इन पाइथन उस पे प्रोजेक्ट्स भी किए थे मैंने एंड ऐसे सोशल मोटिव था वो प्रोजेक्ट्स के पीछे कोविड चालू था हॉस्पिटल्स वगैरह मतलब जो छोटे हॉस्पिटल्स होते हैं दे डोंट हैव रिसोर्सेज तो उसके अराउंड था वो प्रोजेक्ट सो आई हैड माय पोर्टफोलियो एवरीवेयर कोई भी कंपनी आ जाए मैं उसको रेज्यूमे वाइज तो मेरा प्रिपेयर था वो लॉकडाउन टाइम में सो या दैट वाज द थिंग लाइक इट वाजंट लाइक कंसल्टिंग ही चाहिए व्हाटएवर कम्स माय वे आई विल गिव इट माय बेस्ट
Great. So, as you said that you hadn't planned before for consulting, like you kind of went with the flow. So, the you must have had to learn the placement process because it's slightly different from the tech companies or the software companies. So, could you give us an insight into the steps involved in the hiring process of a consulting firm?
yeah so basically in consulting the most important thing is तुम्हारा communication कैसा है एंड उसको टेस्ट करने के लिए दे हैव डिफरेंट थिंग्स इन प्लेस एक होता है गेस्टिमेट्स एक होता है केस स्टडी राउंड्स फिर होता है एचआर क्वेश्चंस बिहेवियरल क्वेश्चंस एप्टीट्यूड एप्टीट्यूड में क्या आता है लॉजिक मैथ्स इंग्लिश डेटा इंटरप्रिटेशन ठीक है. So like any other interview, even the core में जैसे होता है, the first round is always aptitude. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे उनकी लेवल वो लॉजिकल तरफ मतलब बढ़ाते जाएंगे एंड कम्युनिकेशन. सो एप्टीट्यूड हो जाए उसके बाद कुछ तो जनरल केस स्टडी देंगे विच इज वेरी इजी. उसमें अगर पास हो जाए तो थोड़ा सा तुम्हें बात भी करने को बोलेंगे, कुछ तो गेस्टिमेट दे देंगे, एचआर क्वेश्चंस पूछ लेंगे. फिर एक केस स्टडी. केस स्टडीज आर जस्ट कि तुम्हारा थॉट प्रोसेस कैसा होता है ये टेस्ट करना है, बेसिक मोटो. तो डू यू वांट लाइक जीएस का, जीएस और डिलॉइट का इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस, और इन जनरल ही बोलती रहूं, like in general how the consulting companies test you?
Yeah, so we'll actually come to your particular role later, but it would be great if you could give us a general idea, so your experience of the hiring process.
Okay, so what was common? There was GEP Mumbai, there was Deloitte India, Ugam, ZS, Bain, और कौन सा था आर्यन?
I think KPMG
PWD,
had also come this time.
EY.
No,
कौन सा
not
बोले तो?
EY. KPMG had come this time.
KPMG, right? So सभी में एक common होता है. First round will always be aptitude. Second round will be around HR or around something which will be talking. Deloitte के लिए it was a interactive case study जिसमें there was a group and you had to interact with each other and come to a solution. So many things you उसके बारे में तो आर्यन बोल देगा. Many things उसमें से जज हो जाते. तुम्हारा टीम वर्क ऐसे, if you are like कि नहीं नहीं मुझे solution निकालना है, उसके पीछे भागोगे, but if you don't show any team person sportsman spirit, तो you are out. And then lastly case studies is the like basic flow: aptitude, communication and case study. I'll just keep my camera off. I don't know, my bandwidth is थोड़ा सा fluctuating. For a few minutes I'll keep it off.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. Thank you, Sakshi. So, Aryan, we have actually had some conversations around preparation. So, you have said that you did quite a lot of preparation for your placements. So, what was your experience?
Yes, I had done quite a lot of preparation is because it was a very last minute decision for me that, I am going to sit for placements because I was preparing for MS in metallurgy for a very long time. And the sudden interest in consulting and with running this club for a long time, I just thought it's better that I probably gain some experience from the corporate and then maybe I do my masters later. So because this was a very last minute decision, I had to, you know, prepare almost like what 18 hours a day for placements per se. But that is not required. That was just me. Uh, from what I have learned is that from the very simplest of things, watching YouTube videos which talk about how to crack interviews or which talk about how to clear GDs or they talk about how to make resumes, they're very helpful. And you'll find some really good content on YouTube. And probably the best is again some sessions like this wherein there are we just tell you what is correct, what is not correct, or which direction to follow, and maybe ask those seniors from the target companies that you are probably looking forward to, right? For example, if someone wants to go to GEP, then we have, I think from our batch, we have Prajot and Runmai who have uh, gone to GEP, right? ZS के लिए जैसे Sakshi है. So, if you have a target company, if you have a very specific company in mind, you can just approach one level up, talk to those seniors because we right now will be very casual with you and we can tell you the real scenario and how to prepare because there's not going to be much of a difference when it comes to the hiring process. So I think these two are the best ways. Go search on YouTube, do your own research. And second is talk to a senior who's a level up. Right. Does that answer your question, Runmai?
Yeah, so I just have one follow up. So you mentioned, so you said that talk to seniors who have been placed in the target companies. So a lot of like we see on the internet that they tell you that it is always good to research on the company that you are applying to. So, did you do that for your placement?
Yes. So, why is it good to research about a company before applying for the company? Is because it just shows that you are genuinely interested in that company and you're not here to do just while time. And secondly, it also shows when you talk, right, when you talk about the company to a person who literally works in the company, he will immediately understand how well versed and how good of research you have done for the company. That comes out straight. I mean, there is no hiding behind the curtains there. So he will understand if you are you are willing to take the extra effort, and are you really wanting to get in the company, or you just here because it has come to your campus. So I personally feel it's very, very important that you research before entering that company. Sakshi, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. तो अब अगर जीएस को जा रहे हो, जेड एंड एस किस लिए स्टैंड करता है ये पता चाहिए. जीएस, तुम पुणे में रहते हो, पुणे में ऑफिस है जीएस का, तो वो कौन से ईयर में, वो हेडक्वार्टर्स है, वो पता चाहिए. तुम्हारा जो इंटरव्यूअर है उसका नाम अगर पता चल गया पहले, थोड़ा सा लिंक्डइन पे रिसर्च करके रखो. इट्स ऑलवेज स्मार्ट, इट्स ऑलवेज मतलब अप्रिशिएटेड व्हेन यू आस्क क्वेश्चंस कि सर लाइक मतलब ऐसे कैजुअली तुम पूछ सकते हो, हाउ हैज योर एक्सपीरियंस बीन, what do you think looking back 5 years आपने कुछ अलग किया रहता, या फिर what made you stick in this firm. I have heard कि मतलब CS में the people are valued a lot, people को बहुत वैल्यू करते हैं CS में, एंड अभी मैं वो देख भी रही हूँ. तो what is your opinion, why is it said so, आपका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है पर्सनल. ऐसे कुछ तो स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चंस पूछो ना, जनरल क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछने, ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछने, स्पेसिफिक पूछा ना, ब्राउनी पॉइंट्स वहीं पे मिल जाते हैं. एंड वन मोर थिंग, रिसर्च करने से तुम्हारा मोटिवेशन क्लियर हो जाता है. तो तुम कंपनी क्यों ज्वाइन कर रहे हो, पैसे के लिए कर रहे हो क्या, नहीं, ये जवाब दोगे वहीं पे तुम इंटरव्यू से बाहर पड़ जाते हो. सो लाइक पैसे तो हर जगह मिल जाते हैं, बट द मोटिवेशन शुड बी द वर्क दे आर डूइंग, द काइंड ऑफ क्लाइंट्स दे आर डीलिंग विद, द फिजिकल प्रॉक्सिमिटी, लाइक इज द लोकेशन नियर फॉर यू, वगैरह वगैरह. सो हर किसी का मोटिवेशन अलग होता है, प्रायोरिटीज अलग होता है. बिफोर एमिंग फॉर एनी कंपनी यू शुड गेट योर मोटिवेशन, प्रायोरिटीज, व्हाट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन यू आर. वो मस्त डायरी लेके 1-2 घंटा बैठ के स्केच करके निकालो, एंड उसके बेसिस पे डिसाइड करो कि कंसल्टिंग या कोर या कौन सा. ओके, कंसल्टिंग यू फाउंड आउट, तो उसमें भी कौन से काइंड ऑफ कंसल्टिंग. आर्यन ने जैसे बोला उसका आईटी कंसल्टिंग है, मेरा कुछ तो ऑपरेशंस है, डिसीजन एनालिटिक्स होता है, जीईपी में प्रोक्योरमेंट होता है, the path.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. So now we have kind of covered the interview process. So I would kind of like to take a step back and the previous stage. So like, what would you say were the important skills like that you had observed in yourself, or that you carefully uh, enhanced or practiced for your consulting job?
Mm, Once again, like, can you repeat the question? I just could not hear you
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, sure. So I was saying that before the interview process, so while you were preparing or thinking of going into consulting, so what would you say are the most important skills for a consultant to have, or to have to
Mhm.
in order to get a job into the consulting industry?
Okay. So primary communication, but I can't stretch much on it because you all know communication कितना important है. You guys have been a part of consulting club. But उसके अलावा empathy is very important. Every corporate leader looks for empathy in the person who is joining their firm, क्योंकि तुम take up करने वाले वो role. ठीक है. So empathy, then skills as in soft skills में ये आता है. हार्ड स्किल्स मतलब टेक्निकल स्किल्स बोलो तो nowadays आईटी के अलावा कुछ होता नहीं है. सो यू शुड हैव नॉलेज ऑफ समथिंग और द अदर, इवन दो यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ एम ग्रुप, तो भी पाइथन सीक्वल बेसिक पता चाहिए. कोर्स एरिया एरा का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं, कुछ तो अच्छे कोर्सेज किए हो, प्रोजेक्ट किया होना चाहिए. उससे लॉजिक डेवलप होता है, थोड़ा अल्गोरिदम्स सी वगैरह पता चलता है, हाउ द प्रोसेसेस वर्क. देन Aryan, do you want to add which all skills are?
Yeah. So thank you, Sakshi. So I think here is where the Deloitte culture is a little bit different. Deloitte actually, I'm sure even ZS promotes learning of new skills, but Deloitte does it in a different way. So the way Deloitte does it, it's लाइक जैसे साक्षी ने बोला कोर्सेरा का सर्टिफिकेट इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. करेक्ट. कोर्सेरा का सर्टिफिकेट या एडेक्स का सर्टिफिकेट्स बेसिकली आर नॉट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इवन डूइंग कोर्सेज ओवर लिंक्डइन, राइट, वो लिंक्डइन लर्निंग एप्लीकेशन से या यूडेमी से या गेट एब्स्ट्रैक्ट से, using such platforms, because these platforms have courses which are of the duration from 1 hour to 4 hours to 6 hours, and then you obviously have courses which are 6 months, whatever, etc. uh, but I feel, at least in Deloitte, it's doing a 1.5 hour worth course is sufficient, because they don't need a certificate from you. They just need that you update yourself with the latest skills that are required, and that can come from anywhere. Even if you watch a YouTube video from a person who is experienced in that skill, right? Uh, let's say there are a good amount of YouTube videos which talk about advanced Excel, right, or business Excel. So doesn't mean I need a edX certificate to get into a firm like Deloitte. Watching those YouTube videos and simply explaining of what is my definition of advanced Excel or what did I learn from watching that YouTube video is much more sufficient uh, to probably crack that interview. Also, uh, okay, like I'll tell that when we talk about the art of cracking an interview, but right now when we're talking about skills, I feel yes, as Sakshi told, uh, updating ourselves with the latest IT skills. If I were to give you an example, maybe Power BI or Tableau or Agile Azure or Google Analytics, something like that. Very easy courses, but very important and very highly valued. So yeah, those skills you should
Yeah.
definitely have in a resume.
ये तो हम दोनों ने जो बताया, ये तो सिर्फ सजेशंस है. बट इवन इफ यू गो विथ नो स्किल, पूरा ब्लैंक स्लेट की तरह भी गए, बट जो बेसिक ह्यूमन क्वालिटीज जो वो देख रहे हैं, एम्पैथी हो, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एटीट्यूड हो, लर्निंग एटीट्यूड हो, तुम अप्रिशिएट करते हो कि हाँ मेरे से गलती हो गई, मुझे बताओ कैसे हुआ, एंड अगली बार तुम नहीं मिस्टेक करोगे. तो ये जो मैंने बताया अभी, ये क्वालिटी, लर्निंग एटीट्यूड वाला, अच्छा, बाय द वे, आर यू गाइज, कैन यू गाइज हियर दिस बैकग्राउंड नॉइज?
It's not that noticeable.
नहीं ना? ओके,
Like we
इफ इट
can
इज,
hear you clearly.
हाँ ठीक है. तो ब्लैंक स्लेट के साथ भी जाओगे तो नो इश्यूज, कंपनी सिखाती, जैसे आर्यन ने बोला, एक एक महीने के ट्रेनिंग कोर्सेज होते हैं जिसमें ये सब कुछ सिखाते हैं. जस्ट द बेसिक सॉफ्ट स्किल्स आर इम्पोर्टेंट.
Yeah. So now in the cracking the interviews, as Aryan said. So what would you say? Like, what tips would you give to someone for cracking and consulting interview?
Before we answer this question, if it is okay with you,
चावी
can
कौन
you
सा है?
ask the audience, the attendees, to just maybe one or two to just tell us what do they think is the art of cracking an interview?
Yeah, sure. So when
Can you have like a feature of raising their hand so that we can unmute them or something like that?
Yeah, you can
yeah,
either write your message in your out, like you can type on the chat box or you can raise your hand, whichever.
So
yeah,
we can see one.
Anish has raised his hand.
Being polite and at the same time being well informed.
Is it just me or his voice is a little too low?
I just heard being polite or being इतना ही.
Could you repeat that, please, Anish? Maybe somebody else?
Yeah, so he put it in the chat box. He said being polite and at the same time being well informed.
Okay. For some reason, I'm not able to access the chat. So you'll have to read it out to me, Mrunmayee. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, all right. So being polite and being well informed. Okay. What else? Come on, this
I
is
guess
not one of those sessions, where I'm going to give you a lecture like your Shindikar sir or your Ahuja, BB Ahuja वगैरह. Nothing of that sort is going to happen. So either you guys speak up or otherwise you lose out on a lot of important information. Your choice.
I would like to go ahead. I
Yes.
feel that it's not necessary you have to have the right answers to everything. It's more about like the recruiter wants to know what your thought process is and why, what is the reasoning behind what you're saying. So getting your points forward in like a concise, in a clear way is important.
Okay. So being polite, getting your facts right, not being right, but at least making that attempt. Okay. What else?
I can say the confidence is what it takes. Confidence matters because if you're
Okay.
going there being a way too feared person that you're trying to be, okay, I'll try my best to crack this instead of going that I'll definitely crack it. Yes, confidence matters.
I'm so sorry. I don't know who's speaking. So can you just introduce yourself before you so that I can also interact with you?
Yeah, I'm Atharo Patil, third year
Hi.
metallurgy student and currently the member of consulting club.
Yeah. Hi, Atharva. Bolo. Confidence. And what else?
Confidence and getting exactly what exactly your point is. I mean, what you want from that company, the perspective
Okay.
and the confidence.
So can you elaborate on this point? What do you mean? What do you want from a company?
Sometimes what happens is we join in company blindly, as Sakshi mentioned. But
Hmm.
sometimes we want to join that company in order to get higher positions, in order to get to know about that specific technology of what exactly we're trying to do. Let's say example of you're going for IT consulting, right? So we don't know about that. So sometimes we go to learn about that thing instead of going straight up as a blank person like that.
So, uh, okay, from what I have understood, let me put it this way for the audience. Uh, I think what you're talking about is, you should have your goals and targets aligned to that of the company. And I feel, if you want to really, for example, you just mentioned IT consulting. If you want to know something about IT consulting, you should not join the job. You should just research about it. That's how you do it, right? Joining a job just to want to understand what IT consulting is not the thing. You should research about it, and then if you feel that you want to adapt into that culture, you want to grow in that culture, only then you choose to join. And then from that, which company to join, you of course then research about the company. You research if your working ethics, if your way of working, if their way of working is aligned, if you guys can work parallelly for a very long time, at least, if not at least for 2 years, which is a bare minimum for even for masters. So will you be comfortable working in that company for 2 years? Of course, not all companies give out their policies in the public. They are quite restricted and confidential. But jitna material Google पे available hai in today's date, you can easily figure out if that company is the company you want to work for or not. So that's my opinion.
I
Am
see.
I
I
in
see.
position with you, Atharva?
Yes, I got the point actually. That's the thing. Sometimes what happens, example, let's say Bajaj Auto. Some people in our college tend to join that company for initial placements and then they have a side idea of going for MBA and they're still uncertain that, oh, should I go for MBA or should I continue in this job? So that's what I'm trying to say, that should one should go with a clear goal while joining that company, and during the interviews one should be straight confident.
Yeah.
So is it
This
important?
also, yeah, thank you so much, Atharva. This, this also reminds me that it is not, of course, brand matters, the name of the company matters, what position they hold in the market matters, definitely. But it should not be your primary goal. It is, for me, working in Deloitte per se is secondary, but getting into IT consulting, getting into the work, it's a very strict corporate culture. There is a zero tolerance policy by Deloitte. And I chose to work in an environment which has a zero tolerance policy. By the way, zero tolerance policy means that they have some of their policies aligned. They have some set of rules and regulations which we have to follow working as an employee in Deloitte. And if we don't follow it, we get a 2 month notice, after which we are kicked out of the company. That is what zero tolerance policy means. If we don't follow the rules, we cannot work in that company. And the reason I chose to work in such a company is because, one, I really wanted to get myself disciplined in terms of corporate, and I wanted to work in the most uh, organized and fashioned way as possible, and not work on spontaneous basis, because that has been my personality from a very long time, and I wanted to change that. I wanted to break in it, and I knew that I can work with Deloitte. So one of the reasons why I chose Deloitte is this, right? Coming back, जैसे अथर्व ने बजाज का पॉइंट निकाला, of course a lot of people go into Bajaj because, one, it's the first, probably the first company, or it's the company that comes during the first week of your placement cycle, and everyone is excited. They give a very high package. I think this year it was 15 LPA. So people are attracted to money.
15? Did you say 15?
Yeah, this time Bajaj is
Oh,
offering the
wow.
15. Yes. अपने टाइम पे नहीं था
I'm
इतना.
I'm definitely sure कि उसमें से आधे ही होंगे जो सच में बजाज के लिए अंतु होंगे, बाकी तो पैसे के लिए ही जाएंगे और फिर छोड़
Abs-
देंगे, ज्वाइन नहीं करेंगे.
Absolutely. So yeah. So usually people go into Bajaj for the name, for the fame, for money, uh, and they don't check if they're aligned to the company or no. But this year, Bajaj, because I don't know if they wanted to break the trend, or they were feeling as if uh, their values need to be changed. But this year they're offering quite the management position. They're offering operations as a position, business operations as a position, which is quite aligned if you want to do MBA later on in your life. So I feel Bajaj is a very good company. If it does come again, do apply for it. That's my suggestion to you, because again, it has a very nice expansion policy. And with that, always check if a company is expanding or no. Because if a company is on the edge of expansion, like if it has an expansion plan for the next 5 years, that means they will have a lot of projects in their pipeline. That means whoever they hire will have to do a lot of projects. And doing projects in company is the real deal, not sitting on the bench, right? Just say, for example, uh, Deloitte. In my office, there are 96 hires from all over the world. All right. Out of these 96 hires, in the first 2 weeks, all of us were benched, which means we were not given projects or trainings of any sort. We were just, there attending their employee training, like how to behave, how to perform better, all of those typical HR meetings. But when I got my first project is when I actually started to work, and is when I actually started to understand what the culture is, what I'm learning. And now I am equipped with three new skills within the span of probably 1 month. So that is important, and that you need to figure out. If that won't happen if you join a huge company which doesn't have an expansion policy, like McKinsey, right? McKinsey doesn't have an expansion policy for the next 2 years. So joining McKinsey today is pointless, and it is going to waste your time and energy as well. I'm not saying don't join McKinsey. Of course, if you have the capacity and energy, please do. It's one of the best consulting firms. But I wouldn't. And I'm just giving you that outlook. Right? Sakshi, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean the Mackenzie point nor will I. It's very demanding mentally, physically, and the output उतना नहीं. Output से क्या चाहिए तुमको? तुम freshers, so you want to learn ना. उधर सब कुछ set policies है. तो लर्निंग कुछ नहीं, वो सिर्फ तुमसे मतलब दे विल टेल यू दिस इज हाउ इट इज डन, दिस इज व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड आउट ऑफ इट एंड जस्ट डू इट, देयर इज नो लर्निंग. सो एज अ फ्रेशर बड़े कंपनीज को एम ही मत करो, लुक फॉर दी स्मॉल कंपनीज जो एक्सपांड हो रहे हैं, जैसे आर्यन बोल रहा है, बी इट स्टार्टअप्स और एनी मतलब एनी थोड़ा मीडियम ब्रांड, एंड लर्न, वर्क हार्ड.
I'm sorry, I think we've diverted from the question of how to crack the art of interview. Like, yeah, I understand that,
A
but
little bit.
it was an important message to convey to you guys that campus placements hai अच्छी बात है, but don't get too much carried away into that. Startup का culture है, innovation, creativity का culture है, so अगर खुद का idea है, go ahead, please do. But anyhow, coming back to the topic of how to crack interviews, uh, I think we should take this step by step so that it'll be easier for our audience to grasp, right? The very first round is aptitude test, which I think everyone has to give. And on the basis of the aptitude, there's a clearing score. And if you clear that score, you are moving on to the next round. Then there is a resume shortlisting round. Uh, if you guys want to know, let me and Sakshi know if you want us to talk about resume as well. But coming to interviews, right? So after your resume shortlisting, there is interviews, personal interviews, or there are panel interviews, right? So I had a personal interview first, and then I had a panel interview, and I would say that when people talk about I know Python, I know R, I know Agile, I know Azure, I know C, HTML, I didn't know any of that language. I did not know any coding at all, right? So of course then the question arises, how did I crack the Deloitte interview if I don't know any of those coding skills which are required, and that too into an IT consulting? So what people forget is I'm going to talk about my case, like what happened between me and Deloitte, and then probably Sakshi will talk about hers, so that you guys can grasp it better. All right. So when Deloitte asked me, you don't have any coding skills, you don't have an IT background, you are a metallurgy engineer. Why should you be the best hire for us, right? I told them, uh, so I agree to the fact that I don't know coding, but I can grasp coding very easily. And since I had done those few courses on LinkedIn Learning, those 1 hour courses, I told them that for me, getting acquainted to a software is, I adapt to it very quickly and I learn very fast. So maybe with your help and your training, I can grasp really quickly and give a newer perspective of some fresh options on the table, right? So I think that is something that interviewers also look for. They don't look for how many coding skills you know, but how quickly can you learn, how adaptable you are, and how well can you mingle and mix with the team so that you can work on projects better. Sakshi?
ओके, पहले तो मुझे ये बताओ, बैकग्राउंड नॉइज बहुत आ रहा है कि अनएक्सपेक्टेडली देयर इज अ वेडिंग प्रोसेशन जो बहुत लाउड स्पीकर पे गाने बज रहे हैं. इज इट ऑडिबल फॉर यू गाइस?
No, we can hear
नहीं
you
ना?
just fine.
अच्छा, परफेक्ट. सो there I can share my experience about other firms as well. Ugam हो गया, GP हो गया. But पहले तो I'll talk about ZS because I'm sure that is what you are looking for most and for. So ZS का process was in 2 phases. The first phase was divided into 3 different rounds. First round, aptitude round. बाय द वे उससे जीएस के लिए इट वाज लाइक रिज्यूमे शॉर्टलिस्टिंग पहले हुआ था. कुछ लोग एप्टीट्यूड के लिए क्वालिफाई नहीं हुए थे. तो like if there are like x number of people, 0.9x went to the aptitude round. So the thing is phase 1 के तीनों राउंड तुम्हें एक ही स्लॉट में करने पड़ते हैं. 7 p.m. को if the link starts, you have to complete everything till next day 7 a.m. So 12 hours का स्लॉट मिलता है. एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट कितने टाइम का था मुझे याद नहीं है, बट आई गेस अराउंड 45-55 क्वेश्चन थे उसमें. इट हैज मैथ्स, लॉजिक, इंग्लिश, डेटा इंटरप्रिटेशन, एवरीथिंग शफल्ड. द की टिप फॉर दिस इज डोंट गो ऑर्डर वाइज. तुम्हारा जो स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट होगा पहले तो स्किम कर लो सब कुछ, एक आइडिया आ जाती है स्किमिंग कैसे करने, वो जरा सीख लेना, मतलब इट्स नॉट अ गुड आइडिया टू रीड एवरी क्वेश्चन. And Joe questions, you should attempt them in 3 rounds, 3 different phases. Like first round में सभी easy तुम्हारे strong points, second round में जो थोड़े तुक्के लगाने वो, and third इसमें हर किसी को कुछ तो mark करके आओ, because ZS के इसमें negative marking नहीं होता है. Please remember, few of my friends did not mark anything because uh, a few interviews do have negative marking. Do this thing once you, if you don't qualify aptitude round, जो मेन कोर इंटरव्यूज होते हैं उधर तक तो तुम पहुंचते ही नहीं. सेकेंड राउंड होता है मिनी केस स्टडी. So there are like 8 questions around some company का problem. So and so company है, उसका so and so issue है. They have elaborated it. And mathematical questions नहीं होते, empathy के around ही होते हैं सारे questions. He instinctively tell what will your first action be, first impulse be. So this is the second round. Third round would be phase one ही चालू है अभी भी. Third round will be a guesstimate and behavioral or HR questions. So the batch before me had, I guess, 8 questions for this third round, but for me there were just 2 questions. एक guesstimate था. Guesstimate क्या होता है पता है तुम लोगों को?
Actually, it would be great if you could explain it briefly because
ठीक है,
all the audience
I'll
member may not know.
I'll take it बाद में. पहले तो मैं एक फ्लो बता देती हूँ. तो गेस्टिमेट होता है एंड एचआर क्वेश्चन. एचआर क्वेश्चंस तो पता ही होगे तुम लोगों को. कैन बी लाइक, मेरे लिए ये था गेस्टिमेट वाज estimate the number of traffic lights in your city, and the HR question was how is your general day, ऐसे कुछ तो था. ठीक है. एंड ऑल दीज 3 क्वेश्चंस एक के पीछे एक होता है. सो फर्स्ट राउंड तुमने क्लियर कर लिया एप्टीट्यूड का, तुरंत 10 मिनट में नेक्स्ट राउंड की लिंक आ जाएगी. वो क्लियर कर लिया, 10 मिनट में लिंक आ जाएगी. लिंक नहीं आई तो तुम क्वालिफाई नहीं हुए, वो डिक्लाइन, वो रिजेक्शन का मेल नहीं भेजते. तुम समझ लो ऐसे. एंड ठीक है. सो दिस इज फेज वन. फेज वन के एंड तक ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 90 पीपल, 90% लोग तो निकल ही गए थे. सो जितना भी बैच स्ट्रेंथ था 800-900 लोग, उनमें से 500-600 ने तो ये दिया था टेस्ट, मतलब अपीयर किया था. उसमें से आई थिंक 30 या 40 लोग ही फेज टू के लिए गए थे. सो फेज टू, इन फेज टू से पहले यू गेट अ फ्यू डेज टू प्रिपेयर. Sometimes a few days, sometimes just a few hours, depends on how rapidly they are taking all the interviews. अगर interviewers available नहीं है तो वो टाइम देते हैं. लकीली हमारे केस में हमारे पास टाइम था, आई गेस 1 हफ्ता था हमारे पास. सो वो टाइम में क्या प्रिपेयर करना है उसके बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. बट फेज टू का कैसे होता है, तो द फर्स्ट राउंड इज अ केस स्टडी राउंड. यू आर सेंड अ पीपीटी through mail and you get 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour जिसमें you have to solve those questions. Campus beats अगर दिया होगा तो you will get an idea, या फिर नेट पे भी मिल जाएगा campus beats का प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट, जीएस campus beats. तो बेसिक प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, परसेंटेजेस, एवरेजेस एंड लॉजिक, कॉमन सेंस, ये बेसिस पे वो केस स्टडी तुम सॉल्व कर सकते हो. दी प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट इज जनरली जीएस का ये सो एंड सो क्लाइंट है, उसको ये इशू आ रहा है. द इशू इज जनरली सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग रिलेटेड, कि कुछ सेल्स गिर रहा है किसी प्रोडक्ट का, कोई प्रोडक्ट एक्सपांड नहीं कर पा रहा है, या उनके जो सेल्स रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स होते हैं उनके इंसेंटिव्स में कुछ इशू आ रहा है. ऐसे दीज आर दी 3 टाइप्स जिसमें जनरली क्वेश्चन आ जाते हैं उनका. सो बड़ा सा क्वेश्चन एंड उस पे फॉलोइंग 8-10 क्वेश्चंस जिसमें यू हैव टू सॉल्व थोड़ा सा. एंड कौन से यूज करने मैंने बता दिया, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, परसेंटेज, एवरेजेस. That's it. The basic 10 standard mathematics and common sense. If you are lucky enough, your day is great and तुम हो जाते हैं इसमें भी, तो उसी दिन दोपहर को some junior associate, some senior associate or an associate consultant from ZS itself sets up a meeting with you and they connect कि like okay, I have the PDF solution of yours जो तुमने 1 घंटे में solve किया वगैरह. तो वो डिस्कस करेंगे तुम्हारे साथ कि तुम्हारा उसके पीछे का क्या, मतलब कैसे कैसे तुम सोचते गए, तुम्हारा थिंकिंग प्रोसेस कैसा था, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटी तुम्हारी जज करते जाएंगे वो। गिवन अ केस कि 1 घंटे में तुम सॉल्व नहीं कर पाए सभी क्वेश्चंस, तो भी बचे हुए क्वेश्चंस का वो पूछेंगे, ओके अभी रीड करो एंड टेल अस व्हाट अप्रोच व्हाट यू हैव यूज्ड। ठीक है। सो दिस इज द राउंड 1 ऑफ फेज 2। एंड दी इसमें अगर हो जाओ तुम तो ऑलमोस्ट गारंटी है कि यू आर हायर्ड। बट स्टिल देयर इज वन बिहेवियरल इंटरव्यू, EIB राउंड कहते हैं। सो दी टॉप मोस्ट पोजिशन का पर्सन, द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द कंपनी, वी गाइज ज्वाइन एज एन एसोसिएट, then there's associate consultants, managers, associate principals, and then principal, the topmost position one can achieve. So he will set up a meeting with you for an hour or so, and he'll talk to you generally कि मतलब nothing related to skills, कोई technical knowledge नहीं पूछेंगे, कोई guesstimate नहीं पूछेंगे, just in general, okay how was your day, फिर तुम्हारी hobbies क्या है, तुम बोल दोगी cricket है मेरा hobby, तो क्रिकेट के अराउंड ही कुछ तो पूछ लेंगे, जस्ट टू मेक श्योर कि तुम यू स्टिक टू योर वर्ड, यू से क्रिकेट इज योर हॉबी, इट्स एक्सपेक्टेड यू नो 10 प्लेयर, मतलब यू नो समथिंग अबाउट सम प्लेयर, यू हैव अ रोल मॉडल, उसके अभी क्रिकेट में क्या चालू है वो पूछ लो। सो ये तो मैंने क्रिकेट बोल दिया, तुमने डांसिंग भी बोल दिया, उसके अलावा यू कैन से एनीथिंग, anybody can be passionate in anything, they look for diversity in their hires. ठीक है। And if you could make a good impression, you're in. Anything more you want me to talk about related to this?
Yeah, so actually coming to interviews, so you could you please elaborate a bit on the case questions, so or guesstimates, for example, where so how to approach that question?
Okay. Firstly you ask case questions ना, तो case questions में मैंने जैसे बताया सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग इंसेंटिव्स, ऐसे कुछ तो ही होता है। एंड द कॉन्सेप्ट विच इज द प्रिपरेशन विच माइट बी रिक्वायर्ड इज बेसिक प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, परसेंटेजेस, एवरेजेस, वो तो तुम्हारे फिंगर टिप्स पे होगा, यू गाइस आर engineers. बट वन थिंग यू कैन डू इज, आई कैन शेयर द रिसोर्सेज विद भावेश विद TCC, वो तुम्हें मेल से भेज देंगे। तो उसमें कुछ एग्जाम्पल केस स्टडीज वगैरह दिए हैं पुराने कैंपस बीट्स के, यू कैन जस्ट गो थ्रू इट, उसको सॉल्व करके देखो, कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाएगा उससे, you'll understand how to manage your time and all, because एक ही घंटा होता है। And second, what did you say, D? What did you say? Second वाला? So,
Guesstimates.
guesstimates, right? So, guesstimates, as I told, मेरे लिए था traffic lights कितने हैं, तो वैसे ही हो सकता है कि estimate the number of balls which can be laid on a plane है ना आर्यन? So, what is a plane, by the way? Anybody can answer. अच्छा ठीक है, इतना नर्वस मत होना। प्लेन, प्लेन लाइक ऐसे सरफेस हो सकता है, एरोप्लेन हो सकता है, कुछ भी तुम इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हो, राइट? तो अगर ओके, बाय द वे, वन थिंग, वन वेरी क्रूशियल थिंग आई मिस्ड इज, जो फेज 1 का थर्ड राउंड था जिसमें HR एंड गेस्टिमेट क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, तो उसका फॉर्मेट इज लाइक द क्वेश्चन डिस्प्लेज ऑन योर स्क्रीन फॉर 10 seconds. In those 10 seconds you have to read the question, estimate the number of traffic lights in your city, and also think about the answer you would give. तो वो 10 सेकंड का बार जीरो होने पर तुरंत तुम्हारा कैमरा ऑन हो जाता है एंड तुम्हारी वीडियो रिकॉर्ड होती है। तुम्हें 3 मिनट मिलते हैं, ऊपर टाइमर चालू रहता है, 3 मिनट में तुम्हें आंसर करना होता है, एस्टिमेट एज एन एक नंबर पे पहुंचना होता है, एंड वीडियो ऑन होता है। सो तुम्हारे जेस्चर्स भी जज किए जाते हैं, एंड इट्स नॉट अ पर्सन हु इज जजिंग इट, बॉट्स रखे हुए होते हैं, दी बॉट्स रन होते हैं कि जेस्चर्स करेक्ट है क्या, हाउ यू आर सिटिंग, expressions, your toning, um, verbal to like spoken to written ऐसे conversions and all होते हैं। But okay, not to deviate from the main question, guesstimates. So have a firstly तो as Aryan said कि YouTube पे जाओ and YouTube को exhaust कर दो, YouTube Google को exhaust कर दो, GS के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है, Deloitte के लिए प्रिपेयर, जो भी कंपनी हो ना उसके जो keywords होते हैं, मैं तो जीएस के पॉइंट पे ही तुमको बता रही हूँ सभी चीजें, बट यू कैन अप्लाई टू एनी फर्म, बी इट इवन अ कोर कंपनी। तो मैं डालूंगी गूगल पे जीएस, उसके बाद स्पेस देके डालूंगी बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस एसोसिएट, या फिर सिर्फ ऑपरेशंस डाल के देखूंगी। ऐसे अलग अलग, यू नो हाउ गूगल एल्गोरिथम वर्क्स, राइट? देयर इज प्लेंटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेस, you should only know how to make use of it। तो एग्जॉस्ट कर दो ये रिसोर्सेस को, एक बार तुम्हें पता चल गया कि बाकी लोग कैसे उसको अटेम्प्ट कर रहे हैं, तो मेक अ प्लान फॉर योरसेल्फ। मैंने तो ये किया था कि एक शीट पे मैंने लिख के रखा था कि इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन कितना, मेल फीमेल का रेशियो कितना है, मेरी सिटी, जनरली तुम्हारी सिटी के अराउंड पूछ लेते हैं वो लोग, सिटी। अब ऑल ओवर इंडिया हायरिंग हो रहा है, बट कुछ कॉमन चाहिए तो सिटी बोल देते, तो तुम्हारी सिटी का भी तुम्हें पता चाहिए, कितना पॉपुलेशन है, कितना एरिया है, फिर ठीक है। और क्या हो सकता है, ओके, ऐसे भी डिविजन्स होते हैं राइट सोसाइटी में, पुअर, देन रिच एंड ऑल, तो इसके अराउंड भी क्वेश्चन हो सकता है। इफ द गेस्टिमेट इज समथिंग लाइक एस्टिमेट द नंबर ऑफ पीपल इन द एयर राइट नाउ, तो हाउ विल यू गो अबाउट इट? तुम पहले तो सेगमेंटेशन करोगे, बकेटिंग करोगे लोगों की, कि अभी एयर में कौन से ये हो सकते हैं। देयर कैन बी एरोप्लेन्स जिसमें पैसेंजर्स अपने कॉमन पीपल आर ट्रैवलिंग, देयर कैन बी एयरक्राफ्ट्स जो मतलब सिक्योरिटी रीजंस के लिए यूज होते हैं, ठीक है, या फिर देयर कैन बी सम पैराशूट, लोग जस्ट हॉट एयर बलून्स में घूम रहे हैं। तुम्हारे ऊपर है तुमको कितना आगे तक लेके जाना है। हॉट एयर बलून्स वाले को तुम सिर्फ मेंशन कर सकते हो तुम्हारे इंटरव्यूअर को कि दिस इज वन थिंग व्हिच आई एम कंसिडरिंग, कि ये लोग भी होते हैं, बट यू कैन आल्सो मेंशन कि दिस इज अ नेग्लिजिबल अमाउंट ऑफ पीपल, सो आई एम नेग्लेक्टिंग दिस नंबर। ऐसे बोल के देखो, इट इज वेरी इंप्रेसिव। यू डोंट नीड टू इंक्लूड दैट नंबर, बट लाइक जस्ट मेंशन इट। एक बार वो बकेटिंग कर दिया तो कॉमन पीपल में भी यू विल से कि इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन इज दिस मच, उसमें से आई अज्यूम कि number of households who are above the middle income range, which I assume to be 1.8 lakh, ऐसे। तो वो इतने है, 80% है, उसमें से आई अज्यूम कि द वर्किंग पॉपुलेशन इज इतना, बिजनेस टूर्स के लिए ये ऐसे अलग अलग फैक्टर्स तुम ला सकते हो ना अंदर। तो इसका तुम एक अपना खुद का शीट बना के रखो, इट हेल्प्स।
Okay, so I would like to follow up on that. So you said bucketing of people. So if you are working with, like, if a person is interviewing you for the case question or the guesstimate question, so do you think it's okay to ask the interviewer some questions in order to get more information or insights about the question?
That's a good question. So I would say it depends. So if you feel the question is self-sufficient and there are two ways to go about it. एक तो तुम खुद से ही बताओ कि मैं ये चीजों को कंसिडर कर रही हूँ। तो मतलब जब तुम बता रही हो, when you're stating it out, he also keeps talking, मतलब ऐसे ही शांत कोई बैठता नहीं है, तो he says yeah right, he himself adds, or like the other way can be, yeah, you can inquire कि okay, should I only consider the common people, or should I also consider the military, the navy, etc. as well? So this can be a question. So your question should have some content, ऐसे ही कुछ तो open ended मत पूछो।
Right. So do you think this the type of questions that you ask also has an impact on the result or your or the interviewer's perception of you?
ओ डेफिनेटली, आई मीन वो अपना टाइम लगा के इधर आए हैं क्योंकि उनको तुम्हें लेना है, तो ही इज ओपन टू हैव अ कॉन्वर्जेशन विद यू, वो उसी के लिए आए हैं। सो या आई मीन द वे यू टॉक उतना ही उनके लिए डेटा पॉइंट से जज करने के लिए। यू गाइज आर फ्रेशर, दे आर नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग एनीथिंग फ्रॉम योर अपार्ट फ्रॉम द बेसिक ह्यूमन स्किल्स, अगेन स्टेटिंग कम्युनिकेशन, एम्पैथी, और क्या आर्यन, ऑल बेसिक ह्यूमन स्किल्स।
Yeah, adaptability, quick learning, all
या
of such skills are your golden tickets to cracking the interview.
one important thing, जब भी the interviewer gives you a suggestion or something, don't try to oppose him, वो बहुत गंदा, मतलब गंदा impression डालता है। तो just लाइक से ओके आई, और फिर उनको उनको ही पूछ लो कि ओके हाउ शुड आई हैव गॉन थ्रू इट, या फिर रिफाइन कर लो अपने आंसर को, रीस्टेट करो. डोंट ट्राई टू गो अगेंस्ट हिम.
Thank you, Sakshi. So, Aryan, would you like to add something about the case questions or the guesstimate type questions?
Uh, I think Sakshi gave a really elaborate and a very nice answer. So, if I'm to add to it, I'll just confuse others. So, I am going to let Google and YouTube be your teachers and let them teach everyone at their own pace. Okay. I would instead what I'll do is I'll summarize, keeping in, respecting the meeting time as well and people who are sitting here. I'll just quickly summarize of the entire interview process so that you can go home, use your teachers and learn. All right. All you need to do is study for an aptitude test, which has maths and English. After that, you need to learn how to crack interviews. There are tons of people who talk about this on all kinds of social media platforms as well. Google, YouTube, hai hi. Interview process ho gaya. Then specifically talking about consulting companies, there are two particular set of rounds which happen, which is group discussions, जिसको GD बोलते हैं, and you have case study, business cases to solve, right? And then you have HR round, technical round, and that's about it. So interviews, aptitude test, group discussion, case study competitions sums the entire thing. इन सबको prepare करो and you're good to go. And always keep a smile because that's your first impression and that's the best impression you can create. Always.
Yeah, so Anish is asking if you could recommend any good YouTube channels for preparation.
So ZS or ZS has its own channel for I personally I think I watched every ZS video twice or thrice before going for ZS interview because it's very engaging. So I personally my personal favorite is ZS. Apart from that, I think no, you should figure it out by yourself, right? We're not going to spoon feed you. You're going for a job placement, right? You're not preparing for a nursery interview, right? Study by yourself, dude. You grow up. Adults है सब लोग इधर. No spoon feeding business.
Okay, so lastly, I would like to ask about how to handle rejection. So, like during the various companies that you apply to, how would you handle rejection?
Sakshi, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I started this talk with a rejection, right, Bajaj. I was so disappointed, that was like as a dream company. मैं mechanical की थी, dude. As I told you, I was open for everything. Core job हो, consulting हो, IT नहीं था. IT तो मुझे जाना ही नहीं था, but core consulting दोनों के लिए. But everything happens for the best. ये attitude लेके चलो, तो सब सही हो जाता है. तो the thing is कि तुम लोग COEP के बच्चे हो. You guys already have the necessary skills. रेज्यूमे तो है तुम्हारा सही है एकदम. तो एंड कंपनीज भी बहुत सारे आने वाले. तुम प्लेस होना ये तुम्हारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, ये तुम्हारे प्लेसमेंट सेल की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. सो ओपन माइंड के साथ जाओ. एंड रिजेक्ट हो तो क्या हुआ, अभी तो शुरुआत है, राइट? ये 7th सेमेस्टर है, राइट? बहुत सारे कंपनीज आएंगे. रिजेक्शन का फियर, हाँ मतलब यही, लाइक कीप एन ओपन माइंड. आर्यन, यू ऐड अप. या एंड वन मोर थिंग, रिजेक्शन दोनों साइड से होता है. सो ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए कि कंपनी ने ले लिया तो अभी यही करना है. मैंने खुद ने 2-3 कंपनीज को रिजेक्ट किया था. तो इफ इट डजंट सूट योर नीड्स, रिजेक्ट इट. तुम्हारे साइड से कंपनी को तुम्हारी जरूरत है, तुम्हें कंपनी की जरूरत नहीं है, तुम COEP के बच्चे हो.
Yes,
सो
exactly. So I think
हाँ.
this is the attitude that you should keep while exactly this what Sakshi is portraying it out to you. This is the most appropriate attitude that you should keep while sitting for an interview. Of course, confidence should be there, and I also understand the fact that you can't force confidence into yourself. There is always the fear of you being interviewed by a senior person. There's this fear of not getting selected, and there may be times where you cannot overcome that fear. But what you can do is just understand and accept the fear. That ठीक है, हो रहा है
Hmm.
fear, but I can choose the best possible way, and that's just about it. So accept it. कि I am shit scared, but this is the only way that I can go about, and I'm going to do it. Select होगा नहीं होगा वो सब ऊपर वाले के हाथ में. So
हाँ यार, लक फैक्टर बहुत मैटर करता है. दिस दिस आई अग्री. तो इट्स अबाउट तुम्हारा दिन कितना अच्छा गया, तुम्हें जो क्वेश्चंस आए
exactly,
वो तुमने अगर प्रिपेयर करके रखे होंगे तो.
you can give the most ideal answer. So yeah, keep a positive attitude, and doesn't matter if you get rejected by 7 or 11 or 21 or whatever companies, it's okay.
एंड या बट ये जो हमने बताया कि रिजेक्शन का फियर मत रखो, डजंट मीन यू शुडंट डू व्हाट इज इन योर हैंड. तुम्हारे हाथ में है प्रिपेयर करना. तो मेक द मोस्ट आउट ऑफ दीज डेज. if I get a chance to get back in you guys का shoes once again, तो व्हाट आई विल डू इज कि अभी ऑफलाइन है चालू तुम्हारा कॉलेज, सो कोई गारंटी नहीं कि ऑनलाइन इंटरव्यूज हो गए. आई हैव टू पुट अप वो जो इंटरव्यू वाला टाइम होगा वो मुझे कॉलेज में ही लगाना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज ऑनलाइन तो हमारा इजी था कि 6:45 को है हमारी मतलब हमारा कनेक्ट इंटरव्यू वाला, तो आई कैन कम एंड सिट इन दिस प्लेस एट 6:40. बट तुम्हारे लिए वैसे नहीं है, 6:45 का इंटरव्यू है तो तुम्हें शाम के 5 बजे ही यहाँ से घर से निकलना पड़ेगा, 6 बजे पहुंचना पड़ेगा. ऑल दैट टेक्स अप टू मच ऑफ टाइम. सो अभी जो गोल्डन पीरियड है तुम्हारे पास, आई गेस 1 मंथ होगा सपोज मेन तुम्हारे कंसल्टिंग कंपनीज आने में. तो रोज चार पांच गेस्टिमेट्स करते रहो, सो दैट वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग का जो प्रोसेस होता है वो तुम्हारे माइंड में फिट हो जाए. आर्य ने जैसे बोला इंग्लिश इंप्रूव करो, उसके लिए वीडियोस वगैरह देखो. यूट्यूब एग्जॉस्ट करना अभी से शुरू कर दो. एंड जस्ट डोंट लिसन टू दोज वीडियोस, मेक नोट्स ऑफ योरसेल्फ. मैं वन नोट में रखती थी, लिखने का मुझे भी आलस आता था, सो आई यूज टू टाइप इट आउट इन वन नोट या फिर फोन के जो नोट्स वाला होता है उसमें टाइप आउट करके रखती थी. एंड कीप इट इन ऑर्गेनाइज्ड मैनर. सो गेस्टिमेट के कंटेंट अलग से रखो, कोर के अलग से रखो. एचआर क्वेश्चंस तो दोनों के लिए सेम ही होते हैं, वो अलग से रखो. जो बेसिक एचआर क्वेश्चंस होते हैं उसके काफी सारे मतलब मिल जाएंगे तुम्हें रिपोजिटरीज इंटरनेट पे. तो हर क्वेश्चन सामने रख के देखो कि मेरे कौन से पास्ट एक्सपीरियंस है जो मैं इसके साथ लिंक कर सकती हूँ. सो मेक श्योर एनी क्वेश्चन विच कम्स टू यू नाउ, back it with an example. If I say I'm punctual, I should be able to back it with an example. If I say I'm a team player, I should be able to back it with an example. Everybody has their own examples. सादा तुम मम्मी को काम में मदद करती हो, तुम्हारे भाई को मदद करती हो पढ़ाई करने में, तुम्हारे रूममेट को she was very depressed, you helped her get out of it. This can be a मतलब basic like common life में के examples होते हैं जो तुम ऐड कर सकते हो. दिस इज अ वेरी गुड प्रोफेशनल एंड भरोसा हो जाए मतलब ऐसे काइंड ऑफ एटीट्यूड.
Yeah, I just like to add a point.
हम्म.
साक्षी ने बोला कि इंग्लिश इम्प्रूव करो वगैरह. The so when I was preparing for interviews, a lot of people told me, is it really necessary to speak in fluent and good English? And the expected answer that people expect, is that ki, no, it's okay. You can communication has to be strong, be it in any language, which is not true. Let me tell you. Let me just break that myth here today. uh, what happens is, when people say it, see, this fact to its very base is true. Okay, they don't judge you on English. They don't judge you on using Hindi words or using Marathi words. They don't judge on that. But when you use wrong English, that's a big red flag. And don't stop yourself from learning English. It can be frightening at times to learn English. It can be that you can get a complex from people who are speaking in good English, but you can also get there. It's not that you can't get there, right? So make an attempt, take that effort, and learn good English, learn fluent English, learn those business corporate terms. I'm telling this to you
Hmm.
again. There are you if you YouTube this, no, how to learn business English or corporate English, you'll find such fantastic videos. If you'll find them of Indian trainers, you'll find them American trainers, Australian trainers, European trainers, all sorts of trainers are there on YouTube who can teach you good English. So take that effort and learn English. It's very important and it definitely gives you the edge.
Correct.
Great. So, thank you, Brunmai. That was a really lovely round of question and answers, and it was really good advice. So, now we'll take any questions we have from the audience members. I have two questions over here. So, Gokul asks, do all branches have equal chance of getting in the companies, or do some branches have a bias?
So, yes, that is true. Some branches have restrictions. For example, FMCGs. There were a lot of FMCGs that from me and Sakshi's batch, a lot of FMCGs were open only to computer science, electrical, ENTC, and not for the rest of the college. So I was personally looking into, getting into the operations and management of PNG or Hindustan Unilever, but it just wasn't open for my branch, so I couldn't. But of course, there are some really good companies like ZS, Deloitte, Ugam, uh, GEP. These companies, Oracle, Accenture, these companies are open to all branches because they don't look for technical skills. They just look for candidates' behavior. And if they will be adaptable, if they will be a good fit for their company, and that's it, nothing else. They don't even look for CGPA. The minimum criteria is don't keep a backlog and keep a six pointer. That's their only criteria for giving an interview. So that means that just goes on to show that they are open to accepting you as you and not on the basis of how much Python and HTML you know, right? So focus. I'm saying again. So Gokul, what I would like to tell this to you is don't don't figure out the companies which are there for you, not there for you. Instead, just figure out what your target companies are, and then after you narrow down that list, maybe your target companies is Deloitte, Oracle, and Accenture, right? So out of that, see which companies are coming for your branch. That is that is one way I would suggest you go about it rather than looking at the list of all the companies that are there for your branch. Just target your companies first and then see if it's coming for you or no.
या एंड मतलब वन मोर थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड कि ना एक और सिनेरियो देखा था ना आर्यन हमने तो कुछ कंपनीज होते थे अच्छे वाले जो दे यूज्ड टू बी ओपन फॉर सिविल एंड सिविल मेटलर्जी मैकेनिकल मैकेनिकल तो मतलब मोस्टली होता ही था हर इसके लिए ओपन बट मेटलर्जी इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन सिविल वगैरह ओपन होते थे बट उनमें से किसी को लेते नहीं थे ये सिनेरियो कभी कभी देख लिया था एंड में ये क्यों होता था बिकॉज ठीक है व्हाई डू दीज कंपनीज कीप दिस ओपन फॉर योर मतलब फॉर द अदर ब्रांचेस कि देयर माइट बी पीपल जो जिनको इंटरेस्ट है ये चीजों में बट उनका ब्रांच अलग है तो तुम कैसे दिखाओगे इंटरेस्ट है तुम उसके अराउंड कुछ तो करके रखोगे राइट तो कुछ तो कोर्सेस करो सो नाउ आर्यन और मी तो आर्यन वाज वांटेड टू गो इनटू आईटी कंसल्टिंग और लाइक बेसिकली कंसल्टिंग तो कंसल्टिंग के अराउंड उसने इतने सारे कोर्सेज इतने सारे बुक्स पढ़ के रखे थे तो उसके पास टॉकिंग पॉइंट्स थे उनको मतलब कन्विंस करने के लिए कि यस आई हैव इंटरेस्ट इन इट यस आई कैन मतलब तुम्हारी जो नीड्स है मैं उसको सेटिस्फाई कर पाऊंगा ये दो चीजें बता पाने के लिए तुम्हारे पास टॉकिंग पॉइंट्स होंगे तो ही तुम जाओगे इफ यू आर फ्रॉम अ ऑड ब्रांच
Yes, that's very true. Next, we have Karthik who asks, is it better to go into big companies which make you work a lot or smaller ones which are relatively chill? And is money better than having a brand?
Firstly, the first sentence, big companies which make you work a lot is wrong. Big companies ज़्यादा work नहीं करवाते हैं. छोटे
So
companies work करवाते
yeah,
हैं.
so I would like to take this up, Sakshi, because I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
love to break that myth of Karthik. There is no such thing as ज़्यादा काम, कम काम, chill atmosphere, hardworking atmosphere. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It is solely on the basis of the projects that you get, the new
Hmm.
acquisition a company takes, कितना busy वो company है कि ऐसा नहीं कि जैसे अभी डेलॉइट अ बिग नेम, ZS अ बिग नेम, ऐसा नहीं है कि वी जस्ट कीप ऑन वर्किंग 24/7 365। ट्रस्ट मी, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। We I think currently we are in a stage where we are learning, so working uh, our working time is probably 3 or 4 hours a day, right? But as we move on to, but our manager,
Hmm.
his working hours is 8 and 9 hours a day, and like unka principal ya mera partner was at the highest position, he has to be up with all his updates 24/7 365. That's just how it is. So ऐसा भी नहीं है कि when if he is thinking about his company 20% 365, he doesn't take breaks or doesn't go on vacations. When you are at a good position, you can take like a vacation of 1 week just by saying that I want to take a vacation, and because I have given a sufficient input from my side, so I'm going on a 1 week vacation, I'll come back and work again. It's a very open culture, and I think you guys are too young. You guys are students. Don't think about, oh, I'll have to work hard. Oh, well, I will it. Can I get like free money if I is that one way out? You know, don't think about that. Just think about getting in that company and think about you. What can you gain from it, rather than is the working atmosphere chill, not chill, and all that. It's not important. So don't think about it.
एंड
Sakshi.
मतलब वन थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड, मैं जीएस के कल्चर के बारे में बताना चाहूंगी. सो आई थिंक उसका जो वो सेंटेंस आया कि बिग कंपनीज मेक वर्क अ लॉट, मेक योर वर्क अ लॉट, जीएस के वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस से ही आया होगा. यू गाइस मस्ट हैव हर्ड बहुत काम करवाते हैं, बहुत ही काम करवाते हैं, नो वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस. सो देयर आर टू डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ मतलब लाइव्स अवेलेबल इन जीएस. द पीपल जिनको इच्छा है बहुत काम करने की, दे कैन टेक अप एक्स्ट्रा वर्क. दो प्रोजेक्ट्स भी साइमल्टेनियसली करते हैं लोग. बट फॉर मी पर्सनली अभी दी टीम इन विच आई एम काफी रिलैक्स जॉब है. मतलब इट इज नॉट स्ट्रेनिंग एज आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग लकीली. तो या मतलब जैसे एक्सपेक्ट किया था वैसे नहीं है. सो देर आर लाइक फाइव फाइव वर्किंग डेज एवरी वीक, जिसमें से आई हैव टू गो थ्राइस अ वीक टू द ऑफिस. 2 days आई कैन वर्क फ्रॉम होम and 11 a.m. I have to log in, not even 8 a.m. And yeah, like minimum 8 hours I'm expected to work. I work for 8 hours, but मेरी मतलब it's my wish, my will and wish से मैं और 3 घंटा 4 घंटा कभी कभी एक्स्ट्रा काम कर लेती हूँ, जस्ट टू मेरी प्रोग्रेस ज्यादा फास्ट हो. मैं किसी के साथ कनेक्ट कर लूंगी, बोलूंगी कि मुझे ये सिखा दो, मेरी केटी ले लो. केटी एज अ नॉलेज ट्रेनिंग, नॉलेज ट्रांसफर. खुद से ही सीक्वल सीखती बैठूंगी, सो दैट मैं खुद से आगे आके बोल सकती हूँ कि सी नाउ आई एम इन अ पोजिशन टू गेट दिस अप, तो वो लोग हैंड ओवर कर देंगे. सो ज्यादा काम करना ये वाले स्टेज में नेसेसरी है, क्योंकि तुम्हारी ग्रोथ ज्यादा हो जाएगी. नाउ वी डोंट हैव एनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, राइट? तो या.
What was the second part of the question, Juvi?
The second part was basically, is money greater than having a being in a better brand?
Um,
पर्सनल
is
चॉइस.
money greater than being in a better brand? Uh, I so I can you unmute the person who asked the question? I'd like to understand what exactly does he want to ask.
Yeah, sure. Karthik, I think you're in the meeting. Can you please unmute and clarify?
Yeah, hello, my name is Karthik. Uh,
I
my question meant to be was that should you consider a relatively unknown startup which is offering more money but would probably might not be stable in the long term, or go for a less paying but a more recognized brand?
see you wouldn't have this question in your mind in the first place if you have done your research very well. जैसे मैंने और साक्षी ने काफी बार रिपीट किया है कि don't go blindly, right? Research about the company, and research में फिर what will this question itself is the thing that you have to research about the company. How does the company working look like? उनका what are their goals and targets for the next 5 years? How can I contribute in it? What will I get from the company? उनका working culture कैसा है? Are they Can I speak to the higher authorities directly? Are they open to talking? ये सारी चीजें ही पढ़ी जाती है, right? And it's I feel जितना research वगैरह किया, but at the end of the day you also need to have a little bit of gut feeling कि yes, I can be a very good employee here and I want to work here. that has to come from within. And again, don't go with this outlook that brand and money and all of those things, because they can be built, right? You can work in a startup which doesn't have a brand and a name, and then work in a way that you give your inputs in such a way that you build the brand and the name for that particular startup, right? And as for money, it is going to keep coming to you as long as you put in hard work and effort and help and contribute towards market, towards the corporate world. So yeah, I mean, money should not be a problem. The brand and the name should not be a problem. Did you have a clearer picture now, or is there something you want to ask?
Yeah, no, it's clear. Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Our next question is from Sagar. He's a second year metallurgy student and he wants to take placement in an IT sector and compete with the CS students in college. He wants to know how he should start his preparation and what will Aryan specifically suggest for him.
Okay. uh Sagar, right? So Sagar, if you want to compete with CS students, I would say don't, because uh, that is not your competition. Honestly, your competition. See, I can sound very philosophical right now, but the true competition is yourself. You can be 10 times better than all the CS students sitting in CoEP right now. So what I feel is you are just considering that, oh, CS is here and metallurgy is here, because they are naturally being taught about the IT sector and we are not. True, but this difference doesn't matter if you consider yourself to be as good as the CS people, right? If they know Python and you know Python, you guys are equal. If you know two coding languages, they know one coding language, you're probably better than the CS people sitting in our college. So uh, I would say don't compete with CS students of COAP, rather than focus on things like uh, जैसे मैंने पहले बताया, short courses which give you a lot of knowledge, power packed courses from LinkedIn, Udemy, Get Abstract, or even Coursera, you know such platforms, wherein YouTube, wherein you can update your skill set. And if I were to give you some examples, uh, there's a tool called as Power BI. There's a tool called as Tableau. There's a tool called as Analytics Cloud. Now that can be in Microsoft, Amazon, Google. It can also be in SAP, right? For example, Deloitte is your target company, Sagar. Alright? And if I were in your place, which I was technically in your place once upon a time, so what I did, I figured out by talking to some of my seniors who are in Deloitte, some of my relatives who are in Deloitte, uh, and they told me that Deloitte uses SAP as a software for analytics, data analysis, and data visualization. Data visualization means, in very layman term, it means Excel sheet ka charts banana, pie charts, line graphs, bar graphs. So, but of course, using some logic. Uh, so ये सब करने के लिए Deloitte uses SAP. So I just went on LinkedIn, search SAP, जो भी मिला पढ़ लिया. I things like Times of India, Economic Times. Whenever there was an article about SAP, or I used to Google SAP, and then after a point, even on Instagram, after a point, I automatically started to get updates from SAP as a software and started to use that software. So when I was sitting for an interview, I was not completely new to that term कि SAP होता ही क्या है, right? So similarly, let's say your target company is ZS. So find out what softwares ZS uses, and then learn something about it, and then sit for that interview, because then you have some confidence and you're not new to that field. So
Acha, one more thing,
yes,
Aryan.
sir.
Acha, nahi, you complete your sentence.
So figure out, that's what I would say. Figure out what they use, what software they use specifically, just one. and go about it. And then in general, you have the softwares I just mentioned, so it will help you on your resume. That's it, Sakshi.
Yeah, right. And one more thing. So I'm glad you're in your second year and you're already clear कि तुम्हें कौन से direction जाना है. But I would suggest make it more clear. If you say IT, what did you say? What did he say? IT बोला या CS? कौन सा type of job? He did not mention
Uh,
job. He just said
he's
competing CS, right?
Yeah,
हाँ,
he's
okay.
to take placement in the IT sector and compete with
IT
CS
sector.
students.
अच्छा, आईटी सेक्टर, राइट. सो आईटी सेक्टर इज काफी ब्रॉड. उसमें डेटा साइंस आता है, उसमें एसएपी आता है, उसमें और बहुत चीजें आते हैं. तो पहले तो रिसर्च करो कि कौन से अलग अलग फील्ड्स है. फिर हर इसमें थोड़े थोड़े छोटे छोटे कुछ तो वीडियोस देख के या फिर छोटे कोर्सेज करके गेट टू नो कि उसमें क्या होता है, उसमें फ्यूचर स्कोप क्या है. एंड till the end of second year or like third year का first semester, get a clear cut idea कि उसमें से कौन सा specific domain है जिसमें तुम्हें जाना है. Now you have another 1.5 years before you graduate, right? तो उतने टाइम में तुम आराम से उस स्किल में टॉप कर सकते हो. So rather than competing, as you mentioned it, competing with the CS students, overall एक ही डोमेन में एक्सपर्टीज करो एंड इट्स वेरी इजी एक डोमेन में बाकी लोगों से आगे रहना. ठीक है. सो दिस इज द फ्लो यू शुड गो अबाउट.
Another question he has is that what is the CGPA criteria and important skills to improve? So I think your Aryan has kind of answered both these questions.
All right, so we can move to the next question if that's answered.
Yes. So the next one is anything you can say about applying off campus?
Yes, it is very important that you apply off campus. Personally, I personally feel so because, uh, you know, on, I mean, people judge you on the solely on the basis of how you are, and they don't create a bias. Because interviewers, when they come to COEP, they have a bias कि बाबा ये cream college का बच्चा है, होशियार है, इसको सब आता है. So we get that privilege, but that does not help when you are actually in the position of where we and Sakshi will be 1 year from now. When it comes to promotions in a company, when it comes to competing with a corporate, हम कितना पानी में है ये तभी समझेगा जब ऑफ कैंपस अप्लाई करेंगे. बिकॉज पीपल देन जज solely on how you are and not giving you special privileges from campus, right? And it's a different experience, so take it.
Yeah, and one more thing, like मतलब मेरा ओपिनियन थोड़ा अलग था. when I was in third year मैंने क्या किया था कि मैंने डिसाइड कर लिया था कि मैं ऑफ कैंपस इंटर्नशिप्स के लिए तो नहीं देखूंगी. मैंने क्या किया था, मैंने अलग अलग कॉम्पिटिशन्स में पार्ट लिया था. आर्यन मस्ट मतलब वो एक मीम्स वाला था, देन एक ब्यूटी वाला एक था. सो देयर इज दिस वेबसाइट कॉल्ड एज dareToCompete.com. तो उस पे मैंने रजिस्टर करके रखा था एंड उस पे काफी सारे कॉम्पिटिशन्स आते थे. केपीएमजी के होते थे, पीडब्ल्यूसी के होते थे, यू नो. एंड उनमें पार्टिसिपेट करके मुझे बिजनेस नॉलेज मिल, बिकॉज वो उसमें क्रैक करने के लिए आई हैड टू रीड थ्रू स्टफ, केस स्टडीज होते थे. सो दैट वाज द वे आई गॉट अबाउट. सो फॉर मी इट वाज लाइक कि ऑफ कैंपस जितना वक्त नहीं आना चाहिए मुझे, ऑन कैंपस ही होना चाहिए. बिकॉज एज आर्यन टोल्ड, वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है ऑफ कैंपस मिलना. सभी लोग सेम लेवल पे होते हैं. तो if the person who is asking this question is in third year, I would say don't go for off campus अभी. वो दिमाग में ही मत रखो, सिर्फ अपस्किल करते रहो खुद को. People are raising hands, we can like
Yeah,
unmute
yeah.
them.
So we have Yadnesh. You can unmute and ask your question, Yadnesh.
Is my voice audible? Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. My question was, at the time of placements, the what do these consulting companies look for? Like, do, do they look for balance CV with achievements in each bracket, or they look for like?
The simple answer, they look for diversity. So उनको ऐसे भी लोग चाहिए जिन जो सिर्फ पढ़ाई करके आए हैं. उनको ऐसे लोग भी चाहिए जो सिर्फ क्लब्स करके आए हैं. उनको ऐसे लोग भी चाहिए जिनके पास एक बैलेंस है. उनको ऐसे भी चाहिए जो जिनका ब्रांच हो सिविल बट उनको एकदम लाइक एकदम पाइथन गॉड हो या फिर डेटा साइंस में कुछ तो मस्त कंपटीशन जीत के रहे रखी है. ऐसे सो दे वांट डाइवर्सिटी. तो गेट गो इनसाइड, नो हु यू आर एंड बी ऑथेंटिक टू योरसेल्फ. खुद का ऑथेंटिक सेल्फ दिखा दो. डोंट ट्राई टू फेक इट. उतना दिखा दोगे ना, दे टेक यू इन, है ना आर्यन? ऐसे
They
कोई
do.
सेट प्रोटोकॉल्स नहीं कि हमें ऐसे बच्चे ही चाहिए. फ्रेशर्स हो, यू कम विद अ क्लीन स्लेट. उनको जैसे चाहिए वैसे वो मोल्ड कर लेंगे तुम लोगों को, वो कोर्सेज दे के.
got
Yeah.
Should we
Does,
go
does
to the
that
next
answer your
question?
question, Yatnesh?
my question was like, should we have balance or like a CV with spikes in the sense of did something really great in at national level or state level, won some competitions and
Yeah, so that's what ना, मतलब तुम अगर ले लोगे नेशनल लेवल तो इट्स गुड. इफ योर सेल्फ मतलब from like when you go inside and you think कि मैं इस स्पोर्ट में, मैं फुटबॉल में बहुत मस्त हूँ, it makes you feel कि नहीं मुझे इस कंपटीशन में पार्ट लेना है, ये नेशनल लेवल कंपटीशन है, मैं जीत गया इसमें. जब तुम इंटरव्यू को जाओगे, इस एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में बात करोगे, तो ही इफ ही फील्स कि इसमें लाइक द ह्यूमन क्वालिटीज विच आई एम लुकिंग फॉर, ये टिक मार्क हो रहा है इसके एक्सपीरियंस को सुन के, वो ले लेगा. अगर तुम उधर जाके हार भी गए बट तुमने स्पोर्ट्समैन स्पिरिट दिखाया, तुमने बताया तुमने इसमें से क्या सीखा, वो उसको अच्छा लग गया, द क्वालिटीज इज लुकिंग फॉर इन द पर्सन, वो टिक मार्क हो गया, ही विल टेक यू इन. इवन इफ यू डोंट गो टू दीज कॉम्पिटिशन एंड यू टेल कि कोविड था मेरे घर पे, मतलब सम रीजन बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाई यू कुड नॉट गो देयर, उससे भी वो ले लेगा. सो बी एट एनी सिनेरियो, the personal
So,
quality
uh,
stigma he takes you in.
yeah, I would like to, try to explain him in a different way. See, show off पता है क्या होता है, यज्ञेश?
हाँ.
So basically show off करने आना चाहिए. And see, a lot of people perceive show off as a very negative term. That's why in the English dictionary there's another word called as showmanship. So showing off in a positive way, which is called showmanship, should be your very strong game. Let's say you have done Python, as you've done Python as a course, right? But if you show that you are one of the pioneers who has studied Python and that's like one of your greatest achievements, you should get a lifetime award for it. If you show it in that way, if you express it out and you impress the other person, you are surely going to get that job. But if you say कि हाँ सर मैंने Python HTML किया है, इन अ वेरी कोल्ड कैजुअल वे, ही विल नॉट टेक यू. तू उसको 10 कोडिंग लैंग्वेज बोल के मैंने हाँ ठीक है मैंने 10 किए, ही विल नॉट टेक यू. बिकॉज यू लैक शोमैनशिप. you should be a you should be a showman basically. If you can't show, you can't sell, you can't market, you can't brand, you can't technically do anything. So that's why I feel showmanship is one of the very, I am a very big showman, so myself. So that probably makes me, that probably made me stand out from the crowd when I was giving Deloitte interview. So I think you should have that skill as well. My resume was very basic. मेरे resume में ऐसे 50 coding languages, 10,000 projects, 5-6 internships, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. It was simple one internship, pretty decent CGPA, zero coding skills, but you know just a basic knowledge and basic business and those kind of skills. I think 3 or 4 maximum. But I showed like this resume is shining, there's a halo ring on the resume करके बेचा मैंने उसको, and I got in. That's how it should be with everybody.
So
That
yeah,
doesn't
but
mean you just study 3 skills. Okay, you can study 10 skills.
for me, I wasn't an Aryan. I wasn't उतना मतलब ऐसे कम्युनिकेशन में बहुत मस्त, या फिर लाइक आई हैड दोज रिंग्स एंड ऑल. सो इसीलिए व्हाट आई डिड इज मैंने प्रॉपर रेज्यूमे बनाया. सो विच एवर काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन यू आर, उस डायरेक्शन में खुद को डेवलप करके करते जाओ, यू विल गेट इन. ही न्यू कि उसका स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट कौन सा है, तो उसने उसको ज्यादा ग्रूम किया. मेरा स्ट्रॉन्ग पॉइंट वो नहीं था, तो मैंने अगले वाले को ग्रूम किया. एंड या, सो दैट इज हाउ यू शुड गो अबाउट इट.
Great. So our next question is from Aditya. He asks, could you please elaborate about internships at consulting firms?
Um, no, so yeah. Who's Aditya? Can you unmute and just explain your question better? I think I
Hello.
Aditya Gunal, yeah, go ahead.
Yep, I've exhausted. Please do that.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question was, what's the process to get into consulting firms as an intern? Because as far as I have researched, there are very few companies who offer internships to undergrad students, that to engineers. So could you please elaborate about that?
See, one way to get in is campus beats. The campus beats, I'm sure you must be aware about campus beats. CS, COEP में हर साल आता है.
Yes, yes, yes,
Then the
yes.
other way is sign up on Dare to Compete. उस पे भी काफी सारे आते रहते हैं case competitions. So that was my way which I went about internships के लिए. मैं internship ले तो नहीं पाई, but the experience helped me. तो वो competitions को अगर तुम crack कर पाओ, you get a hell lot of money. The prize money is huge, and an internship at these amazing firms. Then it can be through your like contacts. If there's anybody working in some consulting firm, you can ask them कि मतलब I am an तुम्हारा resume एक बना दो and उनको भेज दो. If there's any position, do it मतलब prior to like your internship period starts. Summer में होता है तो January में ही भेज दो, so that like summer तक कुछ तो तुम्हारा approval आ जाए. So these three ways.
I hope that answered your question, Aditya.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and one of our last few questions is from Anish. He asks, where did Aryan and Sakshi do an internship in, and what impact does it play on your placements?
I did not do any internship. Aryan had. I guess उसका स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो गया है, बट मैंने इंटर्नशिप किया नहीं था. मेरे दिमाग में क्लियर था कि इंटर्नशिप उतना मेरा मतलब आई हैड डन माय रिसर्च वेल कि डज इंटर्नशिप एड अ लॉट, बट आयरॉनिकली इट्स लाइक उनको डाइवर्सिटी चाहिए. तो अगर इंटर्नशिप नहीं होगा, तुम्हारे पास और कुछ होगा, तो भी इट काउंट्स. कोविड का टाइम था, आई डिड नॉट विश टू गो आउट एंड वर्क समवेयर, so I went with courses, competitions and all these things. So and Aryan.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
See,
Let,
internships play it plays a very unusual role. So, and it depends, right? For some people, if again, I can actually talk about showmanship here because uh, I, if you show that your internship work was one hell of a big deal, maybe it will create an impact. For me, I talked about it for probably 10 seconds, and the interview was like, "ठीक है." I interned in Tata Motors. So and it didn't create an impact. I thought it would because that's why I interned in Tata Motors for the first place. But the interview didn't give two shits about it. He's like, "ठीक है, big deal, doesn't matter." And within 10 seconds, he shifted from my internship to my college experiences with respect to fests and clubs, and that is where he gave more time to that rather than Tata Motors. So it all depends on how you sell. Maybe I didn't sell it right. That's why within 10 seconds he was like, doesn't matter. Tell me something else. And always remember that whatever you have on your resume, there should be at least one thing which is not on your resume, but you can talk about it for hours. One good thing. So for me, it was that I have done a few certifications in professional communication and I have become a coach at it. So I did not mention that I'm a professional communication coach in my resume, but I was asked, I have read your resume thoroughly. I loved it. I enjoyed it. But now I want to hear something else. I want this interview to be about something else, something that is not on your resume. So I had to talk about that. So keep one skill at least in your pocket and not on your resume. And it should
one
not be like a top skill, okay? Just a side skill. Yes, Sakshi, sorry.
yeah one no worries. One more thing these guys can do is, मैंने उसी दिन लदवे सर से जब बात की, वो बोल रहे थे कुछ तो रूल्स चेंज हो गए. एंड द थिंग इज कि जैसे हमारा बीटेक प्रोजेक्ट एंड मिनी प्रोजेक्ट होता था, ये लोगों का कुछ तो इंटर्नशिप के साथ इंटीग्रेट कर दिया है. So that opportunity you can talk to your professors thoda sa in advance before your mini projects and BTech project start. BTech project तो it would be very मतलब late, but mini project से पहले एक बार बात करके देख सकते हो कि can I integrate this mini project with an internship. So what I had done is मुझे अभी याद आया there is this company called Maxian Wheels. तो उसके साथ मेरा mini project भी था, BTech project भी था. So it was an industrial. Once we went and visited the company, we had a plant tour, and उनसे बात की, हमारे goals वगैरह हमने बताए. We were 4 people. We were more inclined into towards MBA or some MBA. Consulting वगैरह वो नहीं पता था तभी. MBA management ऐसे हमारे inclinations थे. Even a manufacturing company can offer you roles उस side को, right? So we told our inclinations. The company, the people at companies are sweet. They were like, okay, if that is what you're interested into, they gave us a problem statement. They told us कि हमारा है manufacturing company जिसमें wheels manufacture करते हैं, right? तो vent holes जो होते हैं wheels के, तो can you try to like play with those vent hole के shapes and come up with a best possible design. तो ये थोड़ा डिजाइनिंग काइंड का हो गया, थोड़ा ऑपरेशंस हो गया, ऐसे 2-3 हमने अलग अलग चीजें उसमें डाल दी है. ठीक है. एंड दिस वाज माय मिनी प्रोजेक्ट. सो जस्ट बी ओपन एंड टेल व्हाट योर नीड्स आर. प्रोफेसर से कम्युनिकेट करो, जो ऐसे हम लोगों को बता रहे हो ना, तो वैसे प्रोफेसर से कम्युनिकेट करो. जिस कंपनी में इंटर्नशिप मिनी प्रोजेक्ट करोगे उनसे कम्युनिकेट करो कि इसको इंटीग्रेट कर सकते कि इंटर्नशिप के साथ वगैरह. दिस माइट ऑल्सो हेल्प एंड इट वुड बी अ मतलब मस्ट बोल्ड पॉइंटर इन योर रेज्यूमे. मेरे रेज्यूमे में था दो रिसर्च पेपर्स थे, एक मिनी प्रोजेक्ट था, बीटेक प्रोजेक्ट जो कंपनी इंडस्ट्री लिंक थे, पाइथन का एक बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट था, कॉम्पिटिशन्स जो थे डेयर टू कम्पीट बिग, उसमें आई वाज अ नेशनल सेमीफाइनलिस्ट, तो उसके मेंशंस थे. फिर कंसल्टिंग क्लब का था, रेगाटा का था, मिस सीओईपी का था. तो ऑल दीज थिंग्स थोड़ा डाइवर्सिफाई करने को हेल्प करता है.
Okay, and lastly, Nupur asked, should we go for competitions even in the last year?
If time permits, I would go. Um, uh, so
Great. I
depends on
think,
the
yeah, that
scenario.
was a short and sweet answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the scenario. If you're already placed, you can go for competitions and look for better opportunities. But if you're not already placed and if you feel कि मैं ये कॉलेज वाले प्लेसमेंट्स को ही ज्यादा फोकस करूंगी तो इसी में मैं बेस्ट मेरा बेस्ट क्रैक कर पाऊंगी, देन डोंट गो फॉर कॉम्पिटिशंस. डोंट डाइवर्ट योर अटेंशन स्पैन, क्योंकि तुम यू हैव योर बीटेक प्रोजेक्ट टू लुक आफ्टर, यू हैव योर सब्जेक्ट्स टू लुक आफ्टर. अगर कोई एग्जाम का भी प्रेप कर रही हो, so the number of things you have in your hand उसके according you have to decide कि किसको कितना टाइम देना है. So it's a मतलब I guess we can connect about it later. I and Aryan are always ready to connect after this also. You can ping us on Insta,
You can
LinkedIn.
so what you guys can do is probably connect with us on LinkedIn, because that's a very professional platform to connect and talk about such topics. Connect to us on LinkedIn and probably DM us there so we can answer your questions if you have any. Right, Sakshi? Is it that's better, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, I rarely check my LinkedIn. I should start checking it. But like even Insta works for me at least. मेरा तो आर्यन मैंने डीएम्स को ओपन ही करके रखा है. तो
Hmm.
rather than WhatsApp, Insta and LinkedIn is the best option for me.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think with that, we should conclude the question answer round. I would like to call Karthik Raina, the Secretary of Consulting Club, and to say a few words and share his thoughts on today's event. Karthik, can you please unmute
Before
yourself?
before that happens, I also have a very small request to make. Uh, can all our participants who have been actively participating so very well and asking such good questions, just switch on their video so that we can click a good picture. I can click a picture. So if it's possible for all participants to open their videos and we can take a quick snapshot of it. Lovely. Can so is that it? Come on, guys. Just for a memory, you guys have been such an amazing audience on chat. Might as well show your face. I'll give you all 15 seconds to, go look at the mirror, probably comb your hair, fidget with a little bit, get in a good light position. Yes, I will give you 15 seconds. All right. Okay. Can I request, Juhi or Mimai take a quick snapshot and then maybe you can continue.
Yeah, of course. Okay, I took one from my end.
All right. Thank you so much, Juhi. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, please continue.
Karthik, could you please
Uh,
share your
Thank
thoughts?
you, Juhi and Ranmai, for the wonderful hosting and questionnaire rounds. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you, Sakshi, for being with us in this webinar and helping your fellow juniors through these tough times of placements. Uh, I would also like to thank everyone who joined in this webinar. And I would also like to remind you that this is not the only webinar that's going to happen related to consulting, related to internships, related to placements. You can connect with us over Instagram. You can connect with us over LinkedIn. You can connect with us in person if you want to get updates about future events, to get updates about the current world trends, to get updates about job opportunities, or if you're in a dilemma about masters, if you're in a dilemma about getting a job or what you should specialize in, all of those. You can connect with us anytime and we'll be happy to help you all out. Once again, thank you everyone for joining on this in this wonderful webinar. I hope you all got your questions answered today. Uh, have a great night. Thank you.
So, on behalf of TCC, I would again like to express my heartful gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Aryan and Sakshi, for finding time out of their busy schedules and be a part of this event. A sincere thanks to the audience for their significant presence and active participation. I hope today's session was valuable and will encourage you all to start exploring the consulting domain and what it has to offer. Have a great evening ahead, and we'll end the meet now. Thank you.